Hey, what's up guys? This is the Alchemic coming at you today with the upcoming balance changes for Hearthstone Heroes of Warcraft. So, we have been anticipating this for a long time. I wanted to do a live reaction for you guys, just to see how I would, look at it. But, I had to look at these changes when I was at school today. And as soon as I come back, I knew I wanted to make a video for you guys to sort of discuss my thoughts on this this batch of changes. So if you guys haven't already heard, this will be a link in the description, so you can go ahead and click on it by yourself. I'm not going to read everything, obviously, just read kind of the notable things. But basically they're trying to say that standard is kind of part of the problem, and they're going to go ahead and fix a couple of these things, and a couple of things that we actually didn't expect. So the first thing is their first little article part is about Shaman, which is obviously pretty much the strongest class in the game right now. And so they're going to nerf Shaman. They said in here they're going to nerf two of the most widely played and frustrating Shaman cards. So the first card that they are nerfing is Rockbiter Weapon. And once again, you guys can read the blobs by yourself. Links in the description. Rockbiter Weapon is going from a 1 mana to a 2 mana card, which is quite insane because that makes this card, I feel, unplayable, honestly. Because the efficiency of being 1 mana draw, plus 3 attack is actually, I thought it was actually fair. Because it's sort of like Fiery War Axe. Why is Fiery War Axe fair, right? Because you can develop it on turn 2, never have to do anything the rest of the turn. Rockbiter, you still have to play during your turn. And it only gives 3 attack now. So I think the reason is because Doomhammer Rockbiter is not something they wanted to see very much. And if the opponent, if you're playing against an aggro shaman who develops Doomhammer on 5 and then plays a Rockbiter Lava Burst, with this 2 cost Rockbiter, that's less going to happen. And I feel like this card's probably going to leave, or if not, be kind of just kind of a tech card, because it's honestly not very strong anymore. Because I guess Fire War Axe being a card was going to, because it was 2 mana, it deals 3 damage twice. And then, if you hit minions, then you take the damage. Here, you're developing it for 1 mana, for 1 turn, you get 3 attack. And I guess, with Shaman being kind of Wind Fury based, this card was not very well designed. And, I guess this season was kind of Shaman's time to shine, and the Rockbiter kind of made a star appearance, and I guess now it's kind of nerfed. So, I mean, I think this is reasonable for sure. It's not over nerfing a card like they did with like Keeper of the Grove and, Rip Combat Druid. But I think they did fine on it, and I think this is a good choice to nerf, especially because Rockbiter's going to be there for a while. But anyway, the second card is Tuskar Totemic, which is basically going to be only summon basic totems, and you'll see in one of the videos I actually was making before the patch was released. And I had it ready to upload today, and I was going to upload it as soon as I got home today, but then I saw, of course, the patch notes. But I'm going to upload that anyway, just so you guys can see what I was actually predicting. And when I was making the cards, this was actually one of the options I mentioned. But anyway, Tuskar just wasn't a very good, well-designed card because you can roll Totem Golem, and especially the popularity of Shaman now is kind of making that a huge problem. Tuskar has its time to shine, win games on turn 3, and that's not how the card was originally meant to be. Cards that win the game are supposed to be coming much, much later, where it doesn't have to just interact. There's actually interaction. So they're trying to say, Mana Tide and Totem Golem should not be able to be summoned off of it, which I think a lot of players can definitely agree. This can't summon Flame Tongues either, by the way. So they want to basically push more totem-based shamans. Because shamans are about totems, not about hitting face. So they're going to send it to only summoning basic totems. So instead of getting 4 out of 7 good opportunities, you're going to get 1 out of 4. That being, well, depends on your situation, but ideally the Spell Power Totem is probably the best one to get. And I guess that's reasonable. I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw this card coming, saw this, gonna get nerfed sooner or later. I guess sooner for now. But I think it's fair because it's basically a 2 mana 3/2 that hero powers for 1 mana, so it's all right. And I think that's a good choice. They did it very well on these, and I feel like Shaman's going to be a bit weaker moving forward. But only time will tell whether or not it's still a tier 1 deck, because it's Tunnel Trog Totem Golem is still retarded. And Doomhammer, Doomhammer is still a broken card. But anyway, the next card we have is Call the Wild. Call the Wild is bumping from 8 mana to 9. I feel like this is pretty insane. Because Call the Wild coming out in 8 is very strong. You know, you have high main, then Call the Wild, win the game, right? Ideally. So I guess it's reasonable, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw this coming, because Call the Wild was an 8 mana that summons 12 mana of stats, because you know all the animal companions are worth one mana more than the original animal companion. So you know, Animal Companion is a 3 mana summon a random 4 mana, you know, 4 mana weapon, or 4 mana worth of stats, or whatever you would like to call it, 4 mana worth of minion. So Call the Wild was eventually, you know, going to be basically play 3 Animal Companions on the board effectively. So I think a lot of people saw this coming, and I don't know if this is going to still see play. I'm sure quite likely. You know, they're saying it's not going to be an automatic inclusion. Probably still is, just going to be weaker, honestly, in my opinion. But yeah, they are toning down the power, like they're saying, and I think it's going to work because, you know, the Hunter's going to have one less turn, or you're going to need to survive one extra turn against Shaman or an aggressive deck, and it's already struggling against Zoo. Usually that one turn is probably all they need before they can develop Call the Wild. So the Zoo is probably going to be excuse me, a bit more favored on this matchup. But Call the Wild is definitely a card that they needed to nerf, because summoning 3 Animal Companions is very strong. Anyway, the next card we have is Execute. Execute is going to be bumped up to 2 mana, which is definitely reasonable. I feel like Execute was a card that a lot of people complained about. You know, 1 mana destroy minion is insane. But the thing is, I feel like this card's going to definitely see play. There's no way that Warrior's going to give up their Executes, because Execute is literally their only removal, unless you're playing Control Warrior, which has Shield Slams. And Shield Slam, I guess, staying at 1 mana is still reasonable, because you know, Shield Slam, you're kind of taking a risk in, you know, having just hero power a ton of the time and shield block and you know, gain armor, that a 1 mana removal to kind of reward you for gaining that much is very strong. But the thing is, Execute is just such a flexible card. You know, Warrior has a ton of Whirlwinds already, so Execute is definitely an automatic inclusion. And bumping up to 2 mana, I don't think will really do too much other than stopping mid-game plays. So, you know, if you're playing Dragon Warrior, for example, and you're on, let's say 7 mana, right? And you need to remove some big creature like a Ancient of War or something, right? I would have to, if you know, if I if Execute was 1 mana, I'd be Ravaging Ghoul, and then Execute the Ancient of War for 4 mana, and then I have 3 mana left over. If I was playing Dragon Warrior or something, I would develop a 3 mana card like Fierce Monkey or Frothing Berserker, right? But since I only have 2 mana, I can only develop maybe like Fairy Dragon or Alexstrasza Champion, because the Execute costs 2. So that's pretty huge, I guess. Depending on whether you have that card, it's kind of only hurting Tempo Warrior, in my opinion. I feel like as long as the Control Warrior will navigate the early game, early turns, you know, you have plenty of mana, plenty of resources, and plenty of time for sure to you know, remove threats. So that's good, and I think Execute is definitely too flexible of a card to stay at 1 mana, because it's just insane, honestly. But anyway, moving on, we have Charge, which is actually kind of a surprise to me in my thoughts, because I felt like Worgen Warrior wasn't destroying the meta at all, but I guess they wanted to change this because they don't like Charge, honestly. You know, Warsong Commander and what I guess that's really the only Charge card, because Warsong Commander had plenty of nerfs, and Charge, this is, I think it's 2nd or 3rd nerf maybe. But anyway, it says give a friendly minion a charge, and it can't attack heroes this turn, so it's one mana. So basically, they're encouraging playing maybe like Sylvanas on turn 7, then charge it. Then you can charge directly into maybe a 5/5 creature and steal an 8/8. Maybe charge into a Emperor Thaurissan and steal like an Arcane Giant. That would be amazing. But I guess this is more of like a control card rather than an OTK card. And I kind of miss, Worgen Warrior is really fun, and the Wild Pyromancer combo is also very fun. But this is part of the format that's gonna go, I guess, with time. How I miss the combo druid and never got to get my golden druid from the combo druid, so now I gotta grind with the Yogg druid and stuff like that. So, but I guess I'm still happy with this. They're talking indeed in this case about fun and interactive gameplay where charge is more of a card that you see hitting the board rather than hitting the face. So, and the next card we have is Abusive Sergeant. So yeah, charge is fine. Abusive Sergeant is going to be a 1/1. So this kind of matches the consistency with Dark Iron Dwarf. Dark Iron Dwarf being a 4/4 that gives +2 attack. Abusive Sergeant is going to be a 1-mana 1/1 that gives +2 attack. And I think that's good because then Abusive Sergeant can if you're playing against Zoo, Abusive Sergeant buffs a minion, and then it can't trade into like a King's Elec or a Huge Toad or something like that, because it's a very strong minion. It's very similar to Leper Gnome back in the Face Hunter days, where Leper Gnome is basically a 4/1 because it deals 2 damage with the Death Rattle, and then it trades when it dies. It deals 2 damage to something, or of course your opponent plays a spell or blah 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 whatever. But Abusive Sergeant is also another 4/1. It basically summons a 2/1 charge, and then it's a 1/1 on the or 2/1 on the board. But now it's a 1/1 on the board, so it's not as strong. Probably still going to see play in a deck like Zoo, similar how Knife Juggler was. Right, you're playing it more for the effect than the body. The body's just an added bonus, right? And you're not really too picky. I guess Abusive Sergeant was a 1/1. I mean a 0/1, then it wouldn't see play. Just like if Knife Juggler was like a 2-mana 1/2. It wouldn't see play. Or a 2-mana 2/1, that would be really bad. But yeah, so Abusive Sergeant is I'm happy with this. I'm totally cool with it. Because it's a very strong card. It's bursty kind of for like Zoo purposes. You hold Abusive Sergeant and Power Overwhelmings and Soulfires in your hand and then just try and burst them down. But that's good. I'm happy with that. And of course the last card we have has to be the Great Almighty Yogg Saron Hope's End. What they're nerfing to this card, so as you can see in the other images, they're nerfing. Oh, you can see the new card that they're nerfing. You can see that Yogg has no change, and that's because they're mentioning it here in this article, the article portion. And but basically, you guys, like I said, you can read it down below. But Yogg basically will stop casting spells if it's transformed, if it's transformed, destroyed, silenced, or returned to the owner's hand. So you're just hoping that if you play Yogg, you're not getting like Purify on the first one, or if you're hoping for a board clear, you're getting Doom or Twisting Nether, and not on the first spell, hopefully on the last one. But anyway, yeah, that's Yogg. It's gonna be more of a fun card, I feel like, but they're trying to bring it out of tournaments so that people don't just steal games with Yogg, the same way they did with like Tuskar, and I think they did a pretty good job of that. But basically it's still RNG. It's even more RNG at this point because Polymorph, hoping that Polymorph doesn't hit your Yogg, or Yogg Pyroblast everyone that they're supposed to get Pyroblast before he becomes hexed by himself or whatever. But anyway, that's his decision and his decision alone. We'll see what happens when Yogg is played in another tournament setting, ideally, because it'll be fun to see what happens after the nerfs, which will be happening before the last Call Hearthstone Invitational. But anyway, those are the cards nerfed. There's 7 cards nerfed, and they're all pretty good nerfs. I feel like they all did a pretty good job of figuring out what are the problem cards, and I think it's good. So thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of the balance changes. Do you like them? Do you not like them? What do you think they could have done better on? Are you still not liking the what's it called, Tunnel Trog into Totem Golem game? Let me know. I want to see what your thoughts are in the comments. I'll definitely respond to anything you guys have to say. Anyway, like I said, like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.